Investing, stocks versus books. The pros and cons to equities and books as investing vehicles. And to christen it off, I got to give the gematria. Stocks and books are investments equals 333 English ordinal. We know the number. That's powerful. So we know we're in the right place. Stocks and books, those are great ends, bookends, pun intended, of how to make money and how to span generations investment-wise. Some key considerations before really getting into it. Investment goals. Are you prioritizing growth and liquidity, or is the value of tangible assets in niche markets important to you? So do you want growth and liquidity so you can get in and out and you have a higher chance of growth? Or do you like tangible assets that you can touch and that, you know, you're not probably going to lose a whole lot of money on them? And do you like niche markets? Do you like a story behind it per se? Time commitment. It's another consideration. How active do you want to be in your wealth accumulation? Your risk tolerance. Can you handle volatile markets and prices? And passion versus profit. You know, you want to balance out financial gain with the love of the game, right? So you got to balance that out. These are all key considerations people need to look at when investing in stocks or books. Pros to investing in books. Now, let's have a little gematria to start off. Books can be a profitable investment. 333 English ordinal. Books can be a profitable investment. 333 English ordinal. All right, so this is where we're at. Some pros to the books. They're a tangible asset. Books are physical, collectible items that can retain or grow in value over time. If it's a good book, it's usually going to stay at that particular price where it's at now. And, you know, depending on its rarity, its condition, it will gradually increase in value over time, especially if there's not many copies and it's tangible, right? You can have it with you and you can get it off. You know, that's different than stocks. Niche market potential. Rare, vintage, or first edition books can appreciate significantly, especially in niche markets. And so if you like books and, you know, you love the different stories or genres of books, you can get creative in your collections, right? And you can sift out the ones you like to collect. You know, you could like nonfiction, or you could like specific classic literature, or, you know, cookbooks or financial books. Like me, I like to collect financial books. So these are the things you can do. You can make money in it, but it's also passion based as well. Low entry cost. Many collectible books can be sourced affordably, allowing for lower risk entry points. Because if you have knowledge of books, a lot of people don't have knowledge of books. So you have a little bit of knowledge of books. If you know what you're looking at, you can get great, amazing books for $1, $2. You can get collections of books for less than $1 a book. You know, for a good company, you're going to have to pay a premium in the stock market, right? If everybody knows it's a good company, you're not going to get the company at a low entry cost unless something happens for a short period of time. That's different for books. Another man's trash is another man's treasure. That's the pros to investing in books if you know what you're doing. Less market volatility. The value of collectible books is less influenced by broader economic trends and more by demand among enthusiasts. If the book is wanted by enthusiasts, you can get the book off whether we're in a Great Depression or not. It doesn't matter. You know, enthusiasts will buy books whenever. There's always someone out there with money if the book is valuable enough or worthy enough. And, you know, there's a dual utility with books. You can invest in books as a monetary gain, and you can invest on a mental gain as well. I love to read. So the reason why I believe I've been such a better investor over the years is because I've read a lot. You know, one of the better reasons why I'm able to do these presentations and flesh ideas out is because I've read a lot. So that's the dual utility. That's a huge pro in books. You know, it can be enjoyed for the content and adding intrinsic value to the investment. You can read it, then sell it. So you got the content of the book in your brain, but also you can get the monetary profit as well. And personalized expertise advantage. Yeah, look, again, knowledge of specific genres, authors, and periods can give you an edge in finding undervalued books. Very important. You can go to Goodwills, thrift stores, and find things that people will pass by because they don't care or they don't know, but that's our opportunity. Intangible longevity. A well taken care of book can last centuries. There's books 500 years old that still smell like new leather smell. You just have to be able to take care of it. All right. And so I bring that up because it goes back to longevity of companies. You know, a book can last a lot longer than a company. A great book could last a lot longer than a great company and still compound at pretty good rates. So, you know, you have to put that in mind. If you're going to take care of a book, you know, it could last many generations at a safe, at a normally safe risk level too, if it's taken care of. You know, companies aren't meant to last forever. Even the best companies, even the giant companies in the world aren't meant to last forever. Books, you know, yeah, they're paper, they're not meant to last forever either, but they can last a lot longer than companies can. And it's a well-known fact. All right, cons to investing in books. Illiquidity. Selling books can be time consuming, requiring the right buyer and marketplace. It does take a lot of effort. You know, you have to, if you're an online bookseller, you have to have a platform to sell the book. You have to, you know, take photos of the book. You have to do a description of the book. It's going to take a right type of buyer. The buyer doesn't always come out that day. In the stock market, they have market makers. So if you want to sell a stock, the market maker is just going to buy that from you and they'll sell that to someone else later. You can't do that in the book market. There's no market maker for books. Now, there are, sell back your books. You can sell it to companies and they'll sell it later, but you're not getting that value out of that book if you're selling it to a book company like that, the quote unquote market maker. You're essentially getting that fair value price of a stock where it's trading at that day. You're selling it to a market maker on the brokerage. That's not the case for books. You know, if a book's worth $1,000, if you have a rare book worth $1,000, there might only be like 5 to 10 people in the world that would want that book. And you have to think if they even have $1,000 to pay that, they might send you, if it's eBay, they might send you an offer for $650 to get that book, and you have to decide if you want to make that sell or not. Or you sell it, you hold on to that book, and you might not get that $1,000 till later in the future. But you might be a forced seller if you need that money. Very illiquid. So that's the downside for sure. Then another con is storage and maintenance costs. Books need to be stored properly to avoid damage, especially rare and antique volumes. You need a proper storage space, you know, no moisture, you know, it needs to be dry. You might have a storage facility that's going to cost monthly. If you have rare books that are worth being repaired, that's going to cost money. You can sell books damaged. I sell books damaged every day, but you're not going to get that high price that you would want. So storage and maintenance costs, that's a big con when it comes to books. You know, it's very big. And niche demand. The market for collectible books is smaller, which can limit your buyer pool. You know, they're not out there every day. They have to find you. You have to put yourself in a position to be found. and that takes time and effort, and that takes some knowledge. Also, it's a slower growth potential. While some books appreciate quickly, most gain value gradually over time. Especially for the well-known valuable books, yes, you can get lucky at a thrift store and find a book like I did, Think Grow Rich for $3, the first edition, third printing for $3 at a thrift store. But that doesn't happen every day. Most if I go online right now, yeah, I can find that book, but that's going to cost $600 plus. So it's not like I'm buying that at the full price today and trying to flip that double, tomorrow. I would have to buy that book at that price and hold it for a long period of time so it could potentially grow in price. You know, that's much different than investing in growth companies in the stock market, or even dividend mature companies that are paying you a dividend over time. So it's a lot slower growth potential if you're buying it at market value during that day. That's different than finding it somewhere it probably shouldn't be. And risk, there always is a risk of depreciation. Overproduction, lack of demand, damage to a book can significantly reduce its value. So those are things you have to fight off. Especially damage. Maybe over time, Think Grow Rich has lost its luster in the eyes of many. So there's going to be a lack of demand. So me holding on to the book could be a risk. I'm not really worried about overproduction. Yeah, there's a lot more volumes that have came out of Think Grow Rich over time, but that's not affecting the value of the first edition. That affects the value of the later revised editions, but not the first. But if you have a later revised edition and you're thinking that as an investment, if they keep producing it, it's lacking its luster. And there is research and expertise requirement. Identified and valuable books require specialized knowledge and effort. Even if you do, you can find old books for $1 every day. That doesn't mean it's worthy. That doesn't mean it's worth something. Old books could be 300 years old, but it might not be worth something. People might not want it just because it's old. It's just an old book. So you have to have that type of expertise as well, much like the stock market. But it's got to be a little bit more specialized. You have to know what you're doing. And there's real no passive option for this. There's no passive investing option for books where you do it. I mean, there's consignment, but that's a little bit different.